Now, millennia has took us to the round table, and here we can meet a lot of important characters to our story.
Oh, this is a rare occasion. I can't remember the last time a new Tarnished made their way to the round table. Very well. As your senior, it is safe here. You may let down your guard.
We know it's not safe.
Allow me a word of advice. As your senior, you are a mere visitor to the round table. Nothing more. A house guest. Remember your
Now, Gideon is another Tarnished. Or not, because he didn't claim we can either fit for Lord. He is also seeking lordship.
There's nothing left.
Which is why he encountered us near the end to fight us. Because he's trying to understand everything about this world, figure out what happened. And his conclusion wraps him to no one should be Lord. Get there.
Oh, I see you've just arrived. Welcome to the Round Table Hold. I'm Corin. I teach incantation and explore the secrets so that one day, if a Tarnished of the Round Table, ensuring order regains its proper form, writing rule over men. By the way, you do. Most Tarnished, you are something of a rare breed. Well, what do you say?
No. What does it tell us there? There's a lot more Tarnished than we might know. And a lot of them are back, even if we don't really meet them all. And that the guidance is something that can be lost.
May the Golden Order...
Now we know America chose to remove the guidance from her husband and his men that became the Tarnished. So maybe she basically choosing, like, this person's not fit to be my lord. No more guidance.
Greetings, great champion called by grace. I am Fia. Circumstances have compelled my stay at the Round Table. Great champion, perhaps you might share. Doing so will. And you, do you think it fell where I come from? Ah.
Now this is Fia. The deathbed companion. Deathbed companion of Godwin the Golden.
Very warm. What you felt light up inside you was a Baldekin's blessing. Though it is but a fleeting thing, I am afraid. Come back to me, should you require another. I will take you in.
Now, notice the symbol status above. Under our stamina. She has lowered our health by this blessing. Protected the hidden temple of Godwin the Golden. Now she seeks to bring death, to restore death back to the world. And as someone else here wants the opposite. D.
I don't believe we've met. I'm known as D. I hunt down those who live in death and weed their death root. Heed my warning. Those who live in death should be left all the more should you spy a mariner among, unless you wish to lay dead. Those who live all the more.
Ah, hello. You must be new. Well, the honor of one's house holds little import in these lands. By the way, have you met a young woman named... She's my servant. Take your eyes off her for but a moment if you find her.
This is Hoslo. This one doesn't really do have much important story-wise. He is here. Down here, we're not ready for it yet, but there is an invader. Invading from somewhere in particular, indeed, which we'll find much later. And this is the round table itself, with a much larger grace than any of the others. Why this grace is much larger, we don't really know. Well, we kind of can speculate. We know that this is not the true round table. This is an illusion casted. An illusion by the tree itself. So someone has the ability to grind up for Elden Lord. Someone who can pull the resources together and forge a new lord, so to speak.
No matter. Lay out your arms.
And this is one of the Beastmen.
I see you've noticed the chains. Nothing special.
One of the many demi-human-esque
I'm a prisoner, and these are my
factions.
chains. I'm trapped by the hold. Undone. That's all there is to it.
If you notice, his wings have been cut off. His horns have been removed.
No, don't have no grudge against you. My being a prisoner is no fault of it. Besides, despite my differences, the weapons get stronger all the same. Besides, it helps me forget.
Tear Terror Marika. Why Marika chose this one in particular to be a blacksmith of the round table, I do not know. But it's clear Marika wants someone to be Elden Lord. She wants someone to succeed. All these different weapons. A great sword. So, more great swords, all different shapes. An axe, a halberd. The round table might have not originally been the service of new lord. I definitely think it was part of Godfrey's table. As we know of the real round table, through here is a throne. Possibly Godfrey's throne. Now in the round table would have been once his war council. Now, no one really uses blades like this as a boss. We can't say it's any of the demigods' weapons. But at one point, all the children would have been united. It would have been interesting to think about, like, each chair being like a demigod, as they all sit around and discuss how to maintain their world, the lands between. Now, Caelid. This land was the site of the final battle. Once I get the map, we can even show it, because we are not ready to face Radahn. We know one of the biggest battles of the Shattering was here, between Radahn and Melania, which had been renowned as the two strongest of the demigods. And they fought to a standstill. They fought till the world was basically neutral. They were tied. But tied because Melania had sacrificed her pride to win. She also sacrificed it to try and protect her brother. She let off a rot that coated this entire land in red mist. A rot that affects the very soil itself. And that you can see all this mushrooms. The red, that's rot. Rot that can even mold around a dragon. Keep it to the ground. Like, you argue this dragon's old, but like, I mean, as you look, it's physically molded into the ground. Rot has molded it in. This dragon can't move because the rot's held it in place. Another thing I want to talk about, nothing really spoke about in war. So obviously this is pure speculation on my end. But the rot seems to cause some kind of gigantism. Weirdly enough. You see all around Caelid, and we'll try and see the gigantic skulls that are literally as big as the sort of quote-unquote giants that we fight in the game. Which does imply the existence of some other gigantic beings we don't see. The other giants that were fought in the war might have been truly massive beasts. Massive towering beasts. Like, so big that this troll is nothing, really. It also looked like a deformed skull. Totally mutated. Something you kind of see with gigantism in real life. They're not like properly scaled proportionately. And it's not the nicest condition to have either. It's very painful. We know the rot, and sort of gameplay wise, Axe is basically a much more powerful poison that eats away our health. Till it either runs out and we manage to heal it, or cleanse it away by boluses or incantation. Or resting in our grace. We know that much. It's true. Now we've seen like what rot does long term. How it affects the world and the people. That this rot can be a mold. It rolls around people. That it can change, and all around Caelid, in the mountaintops of the giants, we see gigantic, deformed dogs and birds. Even this dragon is pretty damn huge. Is he big because he just grew that way? Is he big because of the rot? He even kind of looks like he has multiple legs. If you look. Now we do see another giant dragon in Lindell that's dead. And it doesn't look like this one really. It doesn't really seem to have the spines or the feathers. It's definitely clear this dragon has mutated somewhat due to the least possibly due to the rot. It might be just the design that's been chosen. It might be not due to the rot at all. There's something this stuff reminds me of rot and how it can change things. Right? A bit like Dark Souls 3's Pus of Man. This substance infects and mutates. One way or another, Caelid became a land of death and decay because of the rot. When this was the last known big battle we have, and perhaps it was after this that the demigods realised that they shouldn't battle anymore, or maybe the last battle because there was less devastation. We know around this destruction, collapse, ruin, clearly more battles happened. Nothing as intense as what happened in Caelid. A rot bloom that covered a whole land. In this decay. Something that could have lasted here for centuries and decades. We don't even really know how long happened between these conflicts. Nothing was called an age ago. So long ago, people might even forgotten why they're even fighting anymore. Fighting for so long, you forget why you're even fighting. So long in history, you've forgotten why it's happened. To me, honestly, explain why America's the way she is if she's this plotting maniacal god. Imagine living for thousands of years, experiencing so much, or the same over and over. I think if you live that long, you would lose your humanity. You would lose your empathy and your care. Because you just lived so long, you've seen it so many times, you just don't care for all these little things that happen so often. And we don't even know why America wanted this war if she actually wanted this path. Why would she want to rule and change status in a ruined world? Which is the reality of this. This world's been ruined. So few people are left. This world is populated. You'd be lucky if you encounter a few hundred different human enemies. A few hundred. Out of an entire world. I don't understand, that's really not a lot. A world so massive, it's actually divided by continents. And like less than 1,000 people are left. And the fact that that's the case shows how the impact of the war. Even if people take forever to come back, get reincarnated, so few are actually left. America rule over this little left. It's weird that God still want this world, given the fact how powerful Elden Ring is. Maybe they can just birth new life. In some form or another, restart the world and properly start in the room of death. So people can properly die and properly be reborn by the tree. We know in some form or another, each faction at one point served a one different god or another. That much is obvious. We know Carnia served the moon, and the deity here respectively represents the moon. The dragons had a god. The giants have a god. And all of them were deemed enemies of the greater will. Most were crushed, and Carnia was so powerful a union was formed instead. A union which people argue was a ploy by America, a grand scheme. Scheme which kind of fell apart though, because Radigan had to return. So surely if it was planned, why would you have planned to ruin that union? You know? Subtle stuff like that. Like, could you really be the mastermind? Did she truly plan it all? And this is all that she's inheriting with whatever scheme comes out to fruition? See all this strange growths. Almost cancerous, you might even say. It's all because of Millennia's not wanting to lose, letting her power go rampant, letting her rot expose everything. A rot that could easily... She could blanket the world in it like this, to be honest. That's how powerful Millennia could be, let loose. Each time Millennia blooms, she's ascending more and more. Third bloom, she becomes a full pure goddess of this rot, this death, this decay. Now, lore says she's already bloomed twice. Does that mean, whether that means she bloomed twice, the second time was in our fight? The first was with Radon. Or the second was with Radon. First was unknown. And the third was the thoughts. If we hadn't stopped her, she would have blanketed the world in this rot. A rot she might have not even been able to control. I don't think she's able to stop herself from doing this. I don't think she's able to stop herself from blooming. And there we go, look at that. A giant head in the ground. Look how massive that is. That's bigger than any giant boss we fight. It's bigger than any creature we've ever fought. It almost has eyeballs. Clearly hints at some point in this world, much larger beings did exist. Things much larger. The giant's been a lot larger than what we have. There must have been true towering giants. Of the land. Then you have to ask, why would one be in Caelid? Why would a few be in Caelid? Another answer might be, well, is the rot trying to make a shape of a person? Is the rot growing in the shape of a human? Which also could be another possibility. This rot simulating the thing that burst it in a way. This rot it's trying to become like the deity that birthed it, not do the control. And at the same time as what we saw, as we will see, what Mikla would have become once he'd probably hatched. He looked to be pretty massive. So maybe Manya hadn't truly formed into our god state truly yet. Perhaps our true god state is this towering behemoth. And we've only stopped our mid-ascension. If we stopped, something could have done a whole lot more damage than anything good. We know everyone's fighting for these shards. And these shards ruin the world. But I think the only way to fix the world truly is to collect them all again. Only if the Elden Ring's power can we restore everything and bring new life to this world. It's the only way to try and put things right. So that's why the Tarnish really needed. We need to get the runes to actually have a chance in restoring this world. Need someone who's capable of beating shard bearers. We need people with the power to actually take on these demigods that are now killable and take their shards. That's the only way you can fix this planet. this world of the lands between. In this broken state as it is, death isn't permanent. And no one's being born back either. The world is in constant fighting. Nobody's winning, no one's losing. It's a world of stagnation. A world where no one's winning. Everyone's just suffering. It's not really a world worth living in, honestly. It's why the TARDIS need in the first place. Someone's needed to try and fix the planet. Get the shard bearers back. That's why the Greater Will might be allowing TARDIS to return. Marika wants the TARDIS to return for a plan. If he does even have a plan, sure. The Greater Will also need them back because they're the only option left. Demigods are all fighting each other to a standstill, so no one's winning. Someone needs to come in. Someone needs to actually do something. That's us. Whether we agree to it or not, that's our role. We have to fix the world. We have to get the shard bearers, shards, and try and fix this. Bring death to the world. So we can end it. But not in just like an evil, I've ended the world villain way. End it so it can all go back to the tree, be reborn, and something new can come. You know? Which is a crazy thing. We have to go through all of this. There's some master plan. We have to go through all this. Because even gods aren't freed from human greed. And no one's safe. Really. No one is safe from human greed. Maybe that is the lesson. Human greed is the path of humanity's destruction. No matter what universe we're in. Like Kayla, there's a smoldering wreck. God, everything has happened. There's a battle to place here in this massive area. And from here, millennia as a rot was able to spread all the way to here. That's basically almost a third of the entire world she blanketed in rot. If not like a half. Half this entire world blanketed in a rot. By millennia, from her bows for dawn. Before this craziest thing of just how powerful these two demigods were. And by extension, are. These demigods are powerful enough to affect the entire world, no problem. Without even a shard, let alone the whole Elden Ring. Just make you wonder in a way, how powerful was Marika truly, if she had all her power? And was fighting to stop us. What could she truly do? We have Deathroot. Is this? This is a Deathroot. This is even its own compelling thing. Like, that tiny fraction of death was that powerful. They caused these Deathroots in the world. Tiny fraction of death itself. Because death is part of natural order. It's not meant to be held and contained. So it truly seeks to bring death back into this world. And that manifests with all these crypts. With these undead skeletons walking around. These bodies are depraved of their own very soul. The souls moved onto the tree, but their bodies have been restored. Forced to rise again and keep fighting. They're basically two manifestations of this splinter of death. Ranni's soul survived, but her body was murdered. Godwin's soul survived, but his body survived, but his soul was murdered. this represents the two states. You can be, your body can be killed and your soul can reside as one of these ghosts that we see all over the world. Or your soul can move on to the tree, your body remain alive. And you know what we see with a lot of these hauled zombie-like people. Their bodies are forced to get back up, even though their soul is long gone. Which is why the rune of death is needed. Once the rune of death is in place, the dead won't return. Once that's sorted, the world can finally start moving on. But doing that is a long journey. Getting the power needed to claim, to beat those shard bearers. Become the power to challenge Marika. To challenge Marika. Challenge even this Elden Beast. For title of Lord, so the world can move on. We are on this journey. Maybe the secret of all this journey isn't for us to become Lord, it's for us to fix everything. To enact Marika's plan, or in other words, undo the action of Marika's grief. Lead the other way. Undo her grief shattering, so the world can actually be moved, it can develop, it can grow. And change.